rat. And I say, well, thank you. All right. Or they'll say, hey, what's up with this? And for fun, does anybody know what movie this guy's from? Shout it out. Ratatouille. Does anybody know the character's name? Remy. Oh, y'all are A+ students. Well done. So this is Remy from Ratatouille. And really, as far as culture is concerned, I want to talk about how to stand out. Because yes, we're going to talk about culture, and Miss Davis is going to share some specific things she has noticed in her time with Gear Up. So mine is going to be more of the leadership, practical, and theoretical ideas that we can apply to any culture, whether that be your family or place of worship or community service or anywhere of which you are operating as a human. And Ms. Davis will give us some more practical ideas that you can hopefully take to your specific programs. With it, I believe that all of us as leaders are trying to stand out. We're trying to make a difference. And honestly, what I've felt as people have asked me questions about Remy on my shoulder, they're the same sort of questions that I hope you want to hear about your Gear Up programs. Well, tell me more about that. Now, what's up with that? What are you doing? Why are you wearing that? It's the same sort of things that most people, if you just ask the average citizen walking on the streets, hey, you know what Gear Up is? No, have no clue. But we hope to help you create a culture where your impact is felt and your influence is felt, and it makes people, potential stakeholders and shareholders in your communities go like, now tell me more about that. Tell me what's the story behind this. What do you do? How do you operate? What's your goal? What are you trying to accomplish? I've never even heard of this. You know, it's gaining early access. No, awareness. What is that? Wow, that's a really long acronym. It is, isn't it? Yes, I don't know why they did that, but they did. All right. With Gear Up, we're trying to stand out, make an impact, and be noticed with our students, with our communities, with our universities, and wherever we go. This picture is from Disney World, as many of you could probably see. It's a little dark, but I don't know if you can see it. This is the Epcot spaceship Earth. This is my family in February, and this is important specifically for the rest of our culture creation. This is Adelaide. I don't know if you can see her. She's our oldest. She's a real perfectionist, classic oldest child if you got one. She wants to do everything right, and she's really by the book, and she's a go-getter and achiever. That is my beautiful wife, Jen. She, like I said, we've been married 21 years. I married way above my pay grade, and she is amazing at everything she touches, literally. That's Everett. He is baby, king of the castle. He runs the whole show. As you can see, he has 1, 2, 3, 4 women in his life doing pretty much everything that he needs. I don't know how I'm going to fix him as he gets older. Because that's my mama. That's Gigi or Mama Murr. She does everything that Everett wants. That's me, and then that's Jocelyn. She's our middle child. So, as you can see, we have a... So, all right. How many middle children do we have in here? Yeah, okay. I'm sure you felt that, didn't you? Yeah, that's the way it goes. All right. Those are the middle kids. And oldest, anybody, the firstborns like me? There we go, getting things done. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. Yeah, the ones taking notes, if you see there. The people with the notebooks, that's us. All right, and okay, last, certainly not least, how many babies of the bunch? Amen. Okay, classic baby response right here. You two, like right here. These two right here. You see, we had somebody shouting amen, the other one's dancing. Classic, like, oh yeah, we're the babies of the bunch. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Exactly, right? I tell that story, and of course I say it in jest about my Jocelyn, who is 11, because she is the middle child, but this story is actually about her. Because when we went to Disney this year in February, we gave our girls some responsibility. We're trying to train them, equip them, build them up. And so you go to Disney, you want a souvenir. And we knew the girls would want souvenirs, of course. And this is a big family trip. We went with my mom, big deal. But, I don't know if you've been to Disney World or Disneyland. Here's the number one takeaway. It ain't cheap, okay? That's my number one overall description. It ain't cheap. You better bring your pocketbook. So knowing this going in, we told them you can get any souvenir you want. You don't even have to ask for it. Your budget is $50, okay? So when we go, you get to decide what, that way we're not answering the question over and over again. Can we get this? Can we get this? Can we get this? No. So teaching a little bit of responsibility. So we're walking through the Magic Kingdom on day one, and a gentleman approaches us. He's walking about from me, Jackie, about me to you, Jackie. He's about right there, and Jocelyn sees him, and he's wearing one of these guys. And she goes, oh, Daddy. Look at that Remy on that guy's shoulder. And I said, I see it. That's pretty cool. That's what I want. And I was like, okay, as your souvenir? She's like, yes, that is it. That is the thing. And I was like, okay, great. You know what? So far, my system's working. She found it. She wanted it. Now I'm thinking like, oh, dear God, please be less than $50. So I'm like, okay, so we'll find this thing. And as we are looking for it throughout the day, we couldn't find it anywhere. And I asked, and come to find out, now I don't know if you've been to Disney World, but come to find out, you can only get this guy in one spot in the entire world. Epcot's new Ratatouille ride is where they were selling these particular ones. They had other characters, other places, but this one place. So here's the thing. Once you start standing out, people will go out of their way to find you. Often we get frustrated as educators. We're like, why won't people support us? Are you doing something worth supporting? Now that's a challenging question, I know. And I don't mean to step on toes, but I think we have to be candid with ourselves, because sometimes we feel like, well, you should care about these kids as much as I do. Well, they don't. So you're going to have to either cry or do something about it. And doing something about it is making enough positive noise, making good trouble around you to say, no, look what our program's doing. Feel the difference, feel the impact. And then they're going to go, now what is this? Where do we need to go to be involved? How do I support this? People will go out of their way. Trust me, I spent 4 days searching for this thing on my shoulder. But why? Because after that time, I know I'm going to cry. But this is what we're going for. This is what we're going for. That face. That impact. Not just for my baby who is super happy in this moment, but we get to create these moments for our kids, not just biologically. And it's the moments of joy when they graduate, or when they do pass the class, or they do get the award they're going for, the scholarship they tried for, the moment, maybe it's the first time they've ever been on the bus to go somewhere. Maybe it's the first time they've ever seen a college campus, the first time they've ever done, the first time they ever got to, do whatever. This is the thing, but you got to do this by creating culture. Now, this is where I say I'm going to go really fast, and I apologize. I'm going to try to cover as much information as quickly as possible. But what do we mean by creating culture? I'm going to cover 2 major areas. But the first thing is this. I want you to start thinking of cultures. And let's very quickly, I want you to just do a culture brainstorm. And once again, this is a part of a larger workshop. But what cultures are you in? I want you to think right now, what are the top 2 or 3 cultures that you enjoy being a part of? Now, this can be literally anything. But what are the top 2 or 3 cultures you are a part of that you enjoy being a part of? Okay? And once you got one, I want you to shout it out. Go for it. What's somebody in? What's a culture you're in?
Hip-hop.
Hip-hop, excellent. Family, excellent. How about this side? Culture.
My colleagues.
Colleagues, what's that?
Workout.
Workout, thank you very much. That's good. Anybody else? Church, great one. What else?
Traveling.
What's that? Traveling, travel culture, excellent, absolutely.
Just like higher education.
Higher education, absolutely. And I do this, and we would do it extensively if we were working with your staff, but the truth is it shows us how many cultures and subcultures we're involved in, because it's a whole bunch, right? And depending on that culture and how involved you're in on that culture, because let's like hip-hop, it could be like, okay, listening or creating, or both. Oh, okay, well, that's a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, listening. Okay, cool. Hip-hop, listening. Oh, we talking about like early 1990s? Or are we talking about like, Kendrick versus Drake? What are we talking about? You know what I'm saying? Those are 2 different cultures. All right? Because I can talk a lot more about early 1990s. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, I can't, quite keep up with the Kendrick stuff as much as, I would like to. Because I'm in church culture. So I can't, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can go a little bit, but then it's like, okay, I better come over here with you, all right? Because you're going to church. And then we might say church culture, but it's like, oh, okay, well, Catholic or Protestant, and it's like, oh, Protestant. Okay, well, Protestant, you mean like charismatic or like non-denominational or like, Southern Baptist? We're talking, Charismatic. Okay, we're talking about like Assemblies of God. We're talking about like Foursquare. We're talking about Pentecostal Holiness, Pentecostal Church of Christ. What you talking about? Like, I can go pretty deep if you want to. But that's because I've been a part of that culture for my entire life. So then what is the problem is like we ask people to be involved and care about this culture that we have not even developed, and that we're asking someone who's on the outside like, hey, you should care about this, be a part of it. Even our students, hey, jump in this thing. Well, what is this thing? That's where we have the power to create this culture. So we do this brainstorm. Whoa, we do this brainstorm.
Cat-like reflexes.
I'm a part of the cat-like reflexes culture. There we go. That I'll say right there. So as we look at this, we ask ourselves then, okay, culture, it's the customs, art, social institutions, and achievements of a particular nation, people, or other social group, i.e. your program. Okay? It's all of these things together. So we have to ask ourselves, well, what do I do about it? Leaders create culture, culture creates results. So you do have some influence here. Anybody want a free t-shirt? Right there, saw you first. You know what? That's all right. Hey, good hand. Hey. We're creating a culture of every man for himself. So, all right. Sorry about you. All right. But it's Dries, right? Is that right? Dries? There you go. I got you. All right. So, as we think about, well, I can't do a lot about this certain thing. What we can do is create the culture, and then hopefully the culture will create those results. Go ahead. Andre, you're going to hit this thing for me? If you'll do it, then I'll. Cool. Because sometimes we get frustrated, and we're just going to fly through these, but you'll just see these highlights. And once again, if you're a note taker and it kills you, you're like, I did not catch it. Yeah. We can email it to you, okay, I promise. So if you're like, you're going really fast, I am. Because we cannot control outcomes or change people. This is a very hard, especially for you, where my firstborn's at, wow, that's tough for us right there. That is really hard for us to swallow. That is really hard for us to deal with. You know, especially when we're looking at, particularly our siblings, we're like, you are the problem. All right? You are the problem. Mossip, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I know. It's like, you are the problem. You need to change. All right? Yeah, exactly, baby boy. Yeah, we know. Yeah, we know. Oh, what? Everything's great. Yeah, exactly. All right, we cannot control outcomes or change culture. Next slide, Anj. But what we can do as we look at this is we can influence the environments and create culture. That's what we can do. And so I think we should spend less time on worrying about, okay, what are the results of the people that are involved, and more time stepping back and going like, well, holistically, what is the culture we're trying to create? To do that, I'm going to give you two major areas. One are the 4 anthropological indicators or identifiers of culture, and the other thing is the types of people that create a culture. We're going to hit these super fast. All right, next couple slides. Let's keep going. All right, right there. Right now, okay, here's a good litmus test for us. Let's describe the culture of this workshop today. You've been here about 25 minutes. Let's describe the culture, because once again, it's any interactions between a group. We have created a culture right here, right now. What is the culture? And you can just shout it out, good, bad, positive, negative, it doesn't matter, of this workshop thus far. Connection. What's that? Engaging, energetic. How about this side? Interactive. Sharing. Inclusive. Okay, great. Now here's the reason. All of those are very communal ideas. We can't force you to share. We can't force you to engage. So when you use words like interactive and engaging, what we have to do as leaders then is back up from the end result we want. So let's say, oh, I wanted a result of those things. I love hearing those, by the way. Those are great adjectives that make me personally happy. But if I say, okay, we want this workshop, we want our paradigm shift events and this workshop to be engaging, connective, interactive, we want those things, then we have to take a step back and go, okay, what did we do to create that? What did we do to create that? Shout them out. What did we literally, physically, or figuratively do? The high five. The high five. Great. Okay, great. Anything else?
Laughed.
We laughed. Great. Anything else? We moved.
I think putting us in a common ground to understand.
Yeah. Putting everyone on common ground. I shared a story. All those things, right? So then this is what I mean by the previous slide when I said leaders create the culture creates the results. You all created the results. You're all the ones that have been laughing and having fun and walking around. You're creating the results. But what I have done is set you up for the type of outcomes we want. So instead of just me going like, okay, well, hey, you know what the most important thing is, Miss Davis? I want to get through every slide. No, that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is what culture do we want to create. And like I said, my greatest belief is not, Miss Davis is going to share with you some powerful things. Hopefully I share some things that you like. But the truth is, you should meet people in this room. You don't want to come to a 4-day conference and walk away going like, cool, who'd you meet? Oh, well, like new people? Nobody. Well, yeah, but I mean, you were there with like 1,000 other Gear Up people, right? Oh, yeah. You went to like 20 workshops. Yeah. Who'd you meet? Nobody. But that's how we typically operate. So I'm challenging us to change those things. So let's look at these identifiers as we back up. Here we go. Language, food, art, beliefs. These 4 things. Language is the most powerful. What did we, I shared language even in high five, sharing common ground, using the language. I've used we a lot. I've used phrases like, I'm not sure about you, but if it's me. You know what I'm saying? Even cues like that to show you like, okay, I'm not trying to be accusational in my tone. I want to be inclusive in my tone. All of those are indicators of language. What sort of language are you using? What sort of language are you using with the people that you want to build culture? Food, art, and beliefs kind of speak for themselves. I will say the largest one that I want to hit on is art for you. Art is any sensory representation of who you are as a culture. So sensory, by that I mean literally 5 senses. See it, taste it, smell it, feel it, touch it. Did I get those right, Brian? I think I did. Y'all know the 5 senses. All right, so it's like, our t-shirts, our music we play on events. Oh, do we play music on events? Do we play music when people get here? Oh, no. Well, should you? Maybe. I don't know. Depends on the kind of culture you want to create. Maybe you can even have students be in charge of that. Okay, great. What are the sensory things we're doing? That's art. And last piece, and then I'm done here, as we talk about people, it's who makes up a culture. So those are the 4 identifiers, and then who makes up a culture. There's a great book called The Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell. It's a little bit older at this point. It's about 20 years old, but I think it holds up. I don't know if anybody's read it. You can give me a head nod if you're like, oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. The Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell. Well, good, then I'm going to tell you all about it. All right, so it's a great book in which he talks about creating momentum and a movement. But in this book, he identifies 3 major influencers that you need to create a movement. I would say, I'm going to use the same verbiage here, but to say create your culture. Like if you're saying, okay, we got, which wave at me, by the way, wave at me right now if you got seniors, or they just graduated. Wave at me if your kids just graduated. Okay, several. Wave at me if your kids are going to be seniors. Wave at me if they're going to be juniors, going to be sophomores, going to be freshmen, going to be 8th graders. Going to be 7th graders? That's probably about the youngest. Okay? So wherever they are, I want you to insert that language and think about, okay, as 8th graders, what type of culture do we want to create? What type of movement do we want? And this is where it takes a little bit of work on your end as a staff. You should have a staff retreat. You should have a PD. You should have a meeting where say, what are we all trying to go for here? What's our shared goals? And then have shared language and shared beliefs. Goals are beliefs. What do we want to accomplish? What's the most important thing here? And as you have those types of things, then you can say, okay, who are the mavens, the connectors, and the salespeople? Now this is worth a Google search because you'll get more information than I'm going to share in the next 30 minutes. But the brief overview, mavens are your knowledge collectors. They're the ones who know things. In a larger sense, this is the person like, you can be a maven over a certain area. Like my dad, I'm from a rural town in Oklahoma. And I don't know if anybody's from a small town, but I'm from a small town in Oklahoma. It's called Oktaha. It's near Muskogee. That's near Tulsa, because you probably don't know either of those places. So it's near Tulsa, from Muskogee, actually from Oktaha, went to grade school at Wainwright, if you actually know Oklahoma. So I'm from a very small town, and I was raised on a farm, and my dad is a cattleman, and so he can tell you, he is a maven when it comes to the cattle industry. If you want to know what the price of cattle was in 1996, he can tell you how much a steer was going for per pound in April. Okay, he just is a maven. It's like, how do you know that? Just a collector of information. Okay, you've got kids that are collectors of information. This is about like almost like personality types or just the way we operate. So this is the person that it's like they know, like if you've got a kid that you're like, they always know where the other people are, probably a maven. If they're like, where is everyone? They're like, oh, this is what's going on this week. Oh, okay. Oh, Miss Davis, they ain't gonna come. Oh, they're not. Why ain't they gonna be there? Oh, because this is going on. That's a maven. They know everything about everything. Okay? Why is that important? Because they can help spread information. Okay? Use that to your advantage. So when you're putting on an amazing paradigm shift summer camp, you want the mavens to know all about it because the mavens can help spread that information for you, but you're probably not utilizing them in any sort of fashion. I mean, coincidentally it might happen, but it's like, oh, let's get one of them on our leadership team so that they can spread information. The connectors are exactly how it sounds. They're the people that meet everyone. They're the people that come to this, they're the people that at this conference you're like, oh, I've met a lot of people. Yeah, okay, that's fewer. But they're the people that actually connect. And then the salespeople don't think of like your stereotypical salesperson. Insert the word persuader. This is the kid that it's like, okay, if I can talk them into it, they'll talk 10 kids into it. That's that kid. People are, this is people, we're the same way. Like, I feel like I am in the salespeople category. Like, I can convince people to do a lot of different stuff. And so if it's like, wow, we really need people to get on board with this. Okay, what do we need them to do? Get excited about this thing? Brian, we're going to get excited about this thing. All right? Why is Jerrod talking to Brian? Because Brian's a connector. I need you to go get me 10 people right now up at this booth. Say less, says the connector, and he's going to go get it done. And Brian's going to bring 10 people. Jerrod's going to, I'm going to say, yo, Dina, tell them all about this awesome curriculum. Dina's going to be like, hey, I'm a maven, even though I don't know it. And I'm going to tell you all the information, even though I didn't realize I knew all this information. But because I know this information, this is the way that I operate. And I share the information. And then it's like, boom. And then I'm like, wow, now that Brian, the connector, got all used people, and Dina, the maven, told you all about it, you should do it. And a movement happens. We have to be more strategic if we truly want to create movement, momentum, and culture within our programs, to be thoughtful strategically in this way. That's how we create culture. I'm going to turn it over to Miss Davis. She's going to tell you some things that she's done and that they have seen that worked really well, and then we'll wrap it up at the end together. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, that's